All right, this is an emergency broadcast. I just literally just scheduled this show because Steve begged out and couldn't do a show today, and I was out with a client, and so I had no choice but to get back and do an emergency broadcast. This is an emergency broadcast here on the network, and we're going to see if I can pull it up on my iPad here and just make sure this is okay. Okay, good. The audio sounds good. Okay, so here's the deal. Steve was supposed to do a show on Thursday, and I contacted him earlier today, and I said, if you can't do the show, let me know by 3 o'clock, and then I'll try to figure out a show. So the Stevester texts me at, let me pull up my messenger here. He texts me at, I'm calling him out here. I'm calling out the Stevester. You can see right there, 3:51 p.m. 3:51 p.m. He texts me and says he can't do the show. Meanwhile, I'm at a client's halfway across the county. Okay, so we got to get Steve a watch so that he can keep time, so that he knows that 3:51 p.m. is not 3 p.m. I said, try to let me know by 3 p.m. And he lets me know at 3:51 p.m. So that's what I'm dealing with here on the channel, folks. This is the kind of thing that I'm dealing with here on the channel. Fortunately, the meeting with the client went well. I wasn't wearing a mask. We weren't social distancing, but everything went well. Williams Watches is first. I thought you were taking a day off and you would deserve it. I was supposed to have a day off, but the Stevester backed out. He backed out. So here's an emergency broadcast, part 2 of Ugly Watches. My evening is not complete without some CraigShip live action. Howdy, okay. And then Carlos says hello to everybody. And let's see, Williams Watches is saying hello to Carlos. I think Craig was watching Trump on Ford Factory. He just finished. Let's see here. And we are live. I literally just got back in the door. I mean, just got back in and just duplicated the event. When you create a live event, you can use the previous settings, and then I just put part 2 on the end. So I literally just created it. And now we are live, absolutely, as Durr says. And let's see what else we got going on here. A bunch of people saying hello to each other. And Steve is running on tutor time. Yeah, I think he might have had a tutor on today. Glad we have a show, says Tom. And yeah, for the folks also in Asia, that they like these shows that are a little bit later than normal. They like that. Trump is looking great in the Ford factory. I think he has lost some weight. Well, there you go. That's a good thing to do. This current thing going around, it attacks big people disproportionately. Steve, better move up from that Bremont and stick with GS, Omega, or Rolex. Cheetown in the house. Good evening, Craig, and everybody, says Stig. Williams Watches is laughing out loud, and he agrees. Okay, so that's just to pick up where we left off on part 1. Let's see if we can pull up the watch box. The watch box. Here we go. Give me a second here. The watch box. See if I can pull up his channel, because I can always use that to find. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm at the wrong place. I want to search on YouTube. We can always use Tim's channel to find some ugly watches, so they're always lingering around there. So let me see if I can get his channel up here again. Give me a second here. Watch box. Okay, here we go. Watchbox Studios. And we click on videos. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. So to pick up where we left off, let's go on down here, because we'd gone through a lot of these. We might have to go to page 2. I'm seeing watches we've already gone through here. Some ugly watches we already talked about. And let's keep going. Yeah, see, I would pass on this one here too. I like the lugs and all, but yeah, I'd pass on that. I'd, of course, pass on anything with an integral bracelet. We talked about those last time. Pass on this one here. Pass on that. Pass on this one here. And I don't want a complicated omega either. I really don't. Not with the chronograph and all that stuff. Don't need it. Don't want it. And this thing with an integral bracelet, I would pass on that. I'd pass on this one here. Let's see, I'd go ahead and pass on all three of those. Now, I would lock and load on that on a Yachtmaster with a blue dial. Are you kidding me? That's a fantastic all-arounder. I would lock and load on that. That could be a one and done piece, folks. One and done. Okay. Pass on these. Again, I don't need the complication of the chronograph. Let's see here. That one's not terrible. Not terrible. Again, much better options than a Rolex Cosmograph, a Daytona. There are much better options like that Yachtmaster we just looked at. I'm not a fan of the square watches, but that one's not ugly. Let's see here. And again, I'd pass on this integral bracelet. That would be a total no-fly zone there. Probably pass on all three of those just because I can. So there you go. And somebody made a comment on the last show. Oh, well, you know, I like your 002, but I don't like the other two. Well, the other two are stunners too. Those two are stunners in their own right. Those are stunners. Obviously, 002 eclipses just about every other watch out there, pretty much every other watch out there. But, I mean, you know, you can't always have absolute perfection all the time. That's not real easy to do. Let's see here. I think we need to move on and leave the Tudor bashing alone tonight. I agree. I think we've discussed Tudor to death. I don't think we need to talk about them anymore. And here's somebody, Adam's in the UK, and he's the first time he's caught us live. Triforce Rich is in the house. If I restored your vision to perfect, would you go buy a date? Triforce Rich. I probably, if that were the case, I probably would have never sold my 18238. I'd probably still have it on my wrist. Yeah, it's a young man's watch. It's a young man's watch. It's definitely very, very, very legible if you have great eyes. But that 231 on the left there is legible even if you don't have great eyes. So there's that. And I'll tell you, this 002, today I wore it going to the clients, and if there's decent light, this one's very readable because of the white dial, and the hands really reflect the sunlight or any lighting at all. And so this is definitely more legible than my Date 8 was. And of course it's bigger. The dial is significantly bigger than the Date 8. So this definitely is more legible than the Date 8, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. A bracelet that is part of the watch can't be removed. Not easily. That's right. That's right. I don't like them. Take this holster off my belt. It's hindering me here in the seat. Okay, let's see here. Adam, Craig is getting a bit of a following in the UK. Don't mention Tudor, though. Tom's in the house. Adam Hall, an integrated bracelet. Adam Hall, an integrated bracelet. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Okay, Carlos, nice to have you here. Oh, Adam, your location gave an idea about what to do next. Craig is saving us money by shaming our ugly watch fantasies. There you go. That's right, because if you buy one of those ugly watches, it might not be easy to sell. Also, when you finally come around and realize that it's ugly. And see, I'm not a fan of buying and selling watches, but if you buy an ugly watch, you end up putting yourself in that box where you have no choice, because once you realize it's ugly, you have to get rid of it, right? So you put yourself in a box. Carlos is in the house. I sent to your email a watch for your consideration. All right, we'll take a look. If I were to rate your watches, 002 equals 9/10, 231 equals 7/10, 005 is 8/10. Wow. Very good ratings on all three. Very good ratings from an independent rating organization. An IRO, an independent rating organization. That is good. Now I'm pulling up this watch for consideration. Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. And it's only $19,900. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. Try this one. I almost stopped on the way back and got a Hoffman sub to eat on the show. I almost did it, folks. I almost did it. I was tempted. I was close. I was about a block away from them. And then I said, no, they're going to want to talk a little bit, and that'll delay me another 10 minutes. And so the guys will get all upset if the show's too delayed. So I forfeited the opportunity to get a Hoffman sub just so I could get back here and do the show, do the emergency broadcast. Let's see. And Cheetown says, Craig, I'm going to send you a pic of a watch that, if we hadn't made an intervention, could have ended up in Lance's watch box. Williams Watcher says, I sent a link to a watch also today, Craig. Okay. That watch is pretty fun, Carlos. You can play with the face. Tur says Tudor sucks. Come on. We weren't going to bash on Tudor anymore. We were done with attacking Tudor. Let's see here. What is this? Oh, Facebook. Okay. Let me just reload that. And then oh, by the way, Bitcoin took a dump. So, folks, if anybody that wants a buy on some Bitcoin, it's down around 9,000. So it's your chance to grab some Bitcoin for around 9,000 bucks. And here is a Calatrava video. I'll pull this up and then we'll see what we got here. I think we've seen this video before, though. This might be one we've seen, but we'll see.
Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Patek Philippe Calatrava reference.
I do like that model. I have seen that model before. I like that bezel. That is nice. That's very interesting, and I like the crown guards.
You can see this gorgeous hobnail Patek Philippe Calatrava on our website, watchyouwant.com.
I think the 002 trumps it, but yeah, I do like that case. I really do.
You can see on my wrist 6 1/3 inches.
Look how nice it is from the side. I think it looks nicer than the 5196 from the side.
Not quite ultra thin, but beautifully styled men's
very elegant
watch. The combination of the flowing integrated look.
Very elegant unit. Very elegant. Yeah, I like that unit, folks. I like that unit. I'm not a big fan of the Roman numerals, and I would rather have like gold indices and gold hands on it than the black. See what I mean? I think the gold looks a lot more stunning. So there's that. But yeah, no, that's a definite nice 2 thumbs up on that Patek. 2 thumbs up. That's not an ugly watch. Lance isn't here because he won the lottery. He's out with Chip Wong buying some Rainbow Daytonas. Whatever happened to Pedro the Troll? I used to love it when you used to get into it. I think we blocked him, or I think I may have blocked him. I do really like that Patek too. I like the case and has great legibility. Williams watches. There you go. Okay, so let's see what else we've got here. There you go. I'm not sure exactly what we got going on there, but yeah, I think we'd probably pass on that one, just on general principle. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, yeah, we're up to date. Oh, by the way, so some really good news. I don't know if you guys ever listened to Ben Shapiro's podcast, but he came out with some really good news, some data today that it's interesting. This is the first I'd heard this. Young folks, like under the age of 20, are like 15 times more likely to die of regular flu, influenza flu, than they are of COVID-19. Like 15 times more likely. So it's insanely not a threat to young people, right? And the only folks that really are more susceptible to COVID-19 than the regular flu is when you get up to like 45 years of age and older, and then you start getting up into some of the high-risk groups. But it's interesting, it's only like about 3 times as deadly. Like even if you're like 85 years of age and over, it's like 3 times as deadly, right? But I mean, people that age die of influenza, quick as well. So it's very interesting. And also there's some new data out that says that it's not easy to pick it up off of hard surfaces like doorknobs and things like that. Everybody's like cleaning everything all the time, countertops and all this stuff. They're cleaning everything like mad, right? Because that's going to help and all. But the latest data shows that you don't get it that way. You don't get it by touching a hard surface. So that's all good news. So there's a lot of good news on that front. Hopefully these governors will take all this to heart and start opening these states up. Open them up, folks. Open up. Let's see, the whole lockdown was a total fail. Total failure. They should have never done it, but government does a lot of things they should have never done. Those of us that own Bitcoin, we're okay. We don't mind. Let's see. I saw the Patek and I fell asleep. I just woke back up, though. Carlos, I'm thinking about adding one to my collection, buddy. Okay. Rolex is a over-marketed, glorified Tudor. Okay, says Kevin. Kevin's dumping on Rolex. Rolex is gold. Tudor is a food stamp. Williams it's really nice. By the way, Durr, do you have the date on wrist? That would be a good thing to know. If you are wearing the date, that would be a good thing to know. Let me think what else. Time check. I'm trying to think what else we got going on today. Interesting. Any other interesting news? Let's see. Okay, so it turned out the lockdowns were totally not necessary. So that we all know at this point that was a total misstep, total overreach by the government. We realize that now. Hopefully most people are starting to realize that was a total fiasco. And let's see what else. What else did I learn today in those podcasts? I think that might be it. Let's see. T-Town says, you didn't have a close enough look. The man on the Certina dial, Craig. Okay. All right, we'll go back and we'll take a look. We'll see if we can zoom in. Problem is the photo's not that big. I can't really read what it says there. I'm not sure who that is. Maybe educate me. It's not a young Saddam Hussein, is it? I don't know who it is. Let's see here. I have the date off wrist right now. I have the bracelet off, and it's in the ultrasonic cleaner taking a bath. You mean the bracelet is taking a bath or the watch? Let's see, Carlos. I was purchasing today a Tilly hat for a gift, and now they're making masks too. I have purchased masks for me and my sons. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll only wear a mask where they absolutely force me to, like Costco requires it, right? Jackbooted thugs. Otherwise, I will not be wearing a mask. I'll only wear a mask where I absolutely have to. And I did some customizing on mine, and I perforated some holes around where the nose is so that I can breathe through it better. So hopefully that'll work better on the mask that I have. So let's see. And by the way, I like the Tilly hats. I think the older ones had better quality. I think they might have slacked off a little bit on the quality. Hopefully the one you're getting is made in Canada at least. Hopefully that's the case. Let's see. That's Saddam Hussein. Okay, yeah, that's what it looked like. Young Saddam. Okay, Durr's in the house. The bracelet is getting cleaned in the ultrasonic cleaning. I would never put the head of the watch in the ultrasonic cleaner. Okay. I seem to think one time they cleaned my Rolex when I went to my AD. They cleaned my date and the whole thing. Now, I don't know how they cleaned it, but I thought they put it in an ultrasonic cleaner. Does that hurt the watch if you put it in that? I don't know anything about them, but when they handed it back to me, it was super, super clean. Craig is a super spreader of the GS virus. And by the way, they also came out with some news that these people that had the virus and they thought were reinfected, that it turned out they just had like dead, I don't know what they call it, like dead cells of the virus or something that cannot be transmitted on to other people. So it's harmless, right? So that turned out to be a total falsehood, that was a big deal, right? That's actually good news. And then also there's news out that kids, get this, kids almost never spread it to their parents, to the adults. That kids can get it and basically get over it, and they don't spread it to the adults. So that was very interesting news that came out. There's a lot of very, very good news coming out about this thing, and turns out that, as a lot of us have been saying for a long time, the whole thing was totally overhyped and totally made a mountain out of a molehill. I posted something on my Facebook. I don't know if you guys know this, but 150,000 people die every day. 150,000 people worldwide now die every day of something, right? 150,000. So just to put things in perspective, right? The number of people that are dying from COVID is a very, very small fraction of that. Very small fraction of that. And yet we try to shut down the whole global economy because of it. Total insanity. Cheetown's talking about antibodies. Okay, let's see. Carlos, give your younger son your date so he can flex. There you go. He'll be profiling the date. The problem is people won't know that it's gold because it's white gold. He's got to get his son a yellow gold one, so then he can really flex. And Carlos is in the house. I recommend to watch Dr. Campbell Daily Show. I wonder what that is. Goes to show you cannot trust a Democrat. Well, you can't blame them. They're trying to get as much mileage out of this thing as possible so that they can get Trump thrown out of office, so that they can get their man elected, right? They're doing the best they can to wreck the economy and to wreck Trump, and they're using all the ammunition that they have available to them. Can't blame them for that. They may have they may have steam jetted the head of the watch, Craig. I doubt they put the whole watch in the ultrasonic cleaner, or the watch probably would have stopped working. Interesting. I didn't know that. Let's see. He wants that I give him the Timex Q, but his wrist is too small. Okay. Lance is in the house, and he says hey to Craig and all. And Cheetown says, I don't worry about a coming global food shortage. I'd worry about a coming global food shortage due to the shutdown. Well, I tell you what, I've got a lot of food stocks. I've got a lot of stock here, and I also have access to a lot of fresh grown vegetables and fruits and all that. I've got a orchard, like a stone's throw from here. And so I've got access to pretty much everything I need for years on end. I'm ready to I'm ready to hold out, to hole up in here. Let's see. Dr. Campbell Daily Show now is about medical information about the virus. Okay. Let's see here. I think we're to the point where we really don't need more information about the virus. We just need to ignore it at this point and get back to work and just stop talking about the virus. A buddy of mine commented on his Facebook. He says, "Don't worry, after the election, it'll all be gone." In other words, there'll be no reason for the Democrats and the media and all them to make a lot of hay out of it because the election will be over with, right? So as soon as the election's over, all of a sudden magically the whole virus threat thing and everything will disappear. So that's pretty interesting. So let's see here. And Cheetown says Seiko SKX or Orient Mako 2. Is he talking about for his son? Triforce Rich Craig will survive a global food shortage, but if one of his GS started losing time instead of gaining, he'll have a heart attack and die. Damn right. That would be a real problem. Of course, it would have to be all three of them. All three of them would have to start losing time. Then I might go into a panic. But if just one of them did, I can always sideline that and figure out a plan, right? But if all three of them do that, that could be a real problem. That could be a real problem. Let's do a double check here on my tabs and see if there's anything that we needed to show that we haven't. Oh my gosh, we were looking at these when we were talking about ugly watches the other day. We were looking at those. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That's terrible. That's terrible. And that one, we're good on that. We talked about that. And time.gov, should we do a time check? I think we should do a time check. That's what we should do. We should do a time check. So let's go B. There we go. Okay, so we've got Eastern Daylight Time there. You can see that. And we've got the, we've got the 231 stunner there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a freeze frame at 30 seconds. Bam, right there. Oh, that's spot on, 30 seconds. Okay, so we are running at this point in time 4 seconds fast. 4 seconds fast on the 231 stunner. Maybe you guys can make a note of that. We're 4 seconds fast. All right, now let's check the, do the other one this way. Let's check the 005. Let's check the 005. We'll do a freeze frame at straight up 12. See if we can get this nailed. Oh, I think I pushed it a little bit too soon. Well, anyway, that's close enough for government work. Okay, so that's straight up 12. So look at that. Look at that. 00. 544.00. It's literally spot on. Spot on. Let's do one more freeze frame because I think I might have pushed it. Let's try it when we get to 30 seconds here. There. Okay, so now that's better. That's more accurate. That looks like we're 2 seconds fast, right? 2 seconds fast? Yeah. Let's refresh this time.gov to make sure it's accurate. Let me refresh this. Okay. Let's do it again. It's straight up 12. So we can get it nailed right on 12. Well, again, the camera angle is what makes it look like it's not pointed at 12. But you can see there now we're right at 00 on Eastern Time. So that the 005 is pretty much spot on. I mean, it's pretty much just spot on, just a hair fast. Just a hair fast, okay? So now let's do this. Let's do a freeze frame on this puppy here. Whoops. All right, so whoops. Let's see if we can do this. We're going to freeze it at 45 seconds. Bam, right there. Okay. So we froze it at 45, and it's at 39. So it is 6 seconds. 40, 40, 45. Yeah, it's about 6 seconds fast. So the 002 is running about 6 seconds, about plus 6 seconds right now. Okay? So keep that in mind as we go forward and we do a final check. In about another week or so, I think it will be a month. Let's see, it's the 21st now. A week will be the 28th. I think I got it the end of last month, right around the end of the month. It wasn't quite the end of the month. So in another week, it's going to be close to a month. So my guess is I'm probably, let's see, plus 6. I'm probably picking up about 2 seconds a week, it looks like. So I'm probably going to be about, about plus 8 to 10 seconds a month, which is not bad, which is definitely acceptable. Definitely acceptable for the 002. And as you wear these, they kind of settle in and sometimes get a little more accurate. So the first 2 weeks is usually a little bit iffy on these spring drives, and then they kind of settle in. So it's best to check it after 2 weeks or so, then see what it's like after a month after that. So we'll keep an eye on this puppy. Adam says, love Grand Seiko, but all their models are so big. Do you think this one looks big? I think this one looks pretty good. I think it's pretty good. And they do make some that are even a little smaller than this. So there you go. They make some that are a lot smaller, especially for the Japanese market. So take a look. All 40 millimeter plus. Now this one's 38.5 mils. And that 005 on the right there, that one's 38.5 mils. So yeah, they do make a number of them that are less than 40 mils. Okay, but if you're looking for a diver that's less than 40 mils, then no, you're not going to find that. Not with a Grand Seiko. Chi-Town is in the house. Bear with me, folks. My Android's YouTube app is going pear-shaped. Okay. Adam, two of Craig's watches are under 40 millimeter. One is 38.5, the other is 39. Is that really true? I thought they were both 38.5. Which one is 39? Do tell. Do tell. Craig sent you a photo of a super ugly Seiko chronograph. Adam says, looks good on you, but I have a 6.5 inch wrist. Okay. I think you can find some Grand Seikos that are smaller on if you do a search on eBay, especially with the 9F movement. Oh yeah. Yeah, this thing would be a definite no-fly zone. Definite no-fly zone there. No-fly zone on that one. That would qualify as an ugly watch. Could be wrong. Thought the 005 was 39 mil, but could be 38.5. That's a good question. Maybe we can get some experts to chime in and let us know what the deal is on that. Oh boy, I'm starting to get hungry already, folks. Durr says, Adam, sounds like you might need a wrist transplant. Chi-Town says, Craig, is it true that you love both tutors and Android phones? I thought we were not talking about tutors anymore, but a tutor would go nicely with an Android phone. I will give you that. It would be a good choice for an Android phone and a polyester shirt and double knit slacks, and maybe even bell bottom stretch jeans would go with that whole ensemble, right? That whole thing would be really cool, really hip. Chi-Town's in the house. That's the Seiko Ripley chronograph. Sigourney Weaver wore it in Aliens. There you go. We got some backstory on that piece. I'm not a big Sigourney Weaver fan either, so. And I have to apologize for the moire on this shirt. It does have quite a pattern to it, and it's just the way I came from my meeting with the client, and I wasn't going to take time to change because we were already late, and this is an emergency broadcast, so we just have to put up with the moire situation. I had a client that needed some emergency help with video production work. She's trying to do her own videos. She's a chiropractor, and she's going to be doing her own videos, and she needed some help with some audio. She needed another lavalier mic, so I had an extra lavalier mic I ran over to her, and a splitter and some other stuff, and she's got a young lady that's going to be helping her with that. So hopefully we'll be seeing some really cool content from Dr. Mimi, the chiropractor. Stay tuned for all that. And Triforce Rich says, Craig, if you had a daughter and a guy walked in with a 3-day stubble, a Tudor Black Bay, and a really short, tight jacket on and said, hey, what's up, Craig? How would you react? Well, first of all, I don't recommend any females that I know, whether they be my daughter or a friend of mine or whatever, I don't recommend any females that I know date total losers. I always tell them, listen, you can have a miserable relationship with somebody who's a total loser, or you can have a miserable relationship with somebody who's a winner. So either way, it's probably going to be a miserable relationship. So you might as well be with a winner. So that's the way I say. Go with a winner, not the loser. Let's see. You mentioned the Yachtmaster earlier. Is it just a flashy sub or something more than that? Adam in the house, a lot more than that. It has a much nicer case. It has a more classic case design. The case is more like a Daytona, so it's very rounded and very attractive, the case. It's also thinner, significantly thinner. I think it's 11.7 mils thick. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. So it will work as an all-arounder. You could use it as a dress watch. It's thin enough that you could use it as a dress watch. So I think it's far superior to a sub in a lot of ways. And it is absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. So I would go with it. I would go with it all the way. Adam, very good question. Williams Watches is laughing. What's the difference between toilet paper and Tudor? They can't keep toilet paper on the shelves, but you can wipe with the Tudor and reuse it. Oh, okay. And She-Town says, I believe that Archie once called someone a Tudor loser. Okay. The Yachtmaster 1 is very nice, but the 2 is so... yeah, I would pass on the 2. I would just get the straight-up Yachtmaster. Absolutely. You're correct on that, Lance. Well done. Yachtmaster 2 is the Invicta of Rolexes. There you go. Very good point. I would also pass on... what's that other complicated one they sell? Doesn't the Dogman have that other complicated one they sell? What's it called? Anyway, I'd pass on that too. And not just because the Dogman has it, but that's a good reason to pass on it. But I would just pass, period, on that one because it's too thick and I forget the one we're talking about, but you know the one I'm talking about. I guess if you're into sailing, it would be a useful watch. Lance in the house. Which one? You mean the Yachtmaster? Not the Yachtmaster 2. I'd pass on that. Let's see. And Carlos is in the house, and he's laughing. Sky Dweller. That's right, Triforce. I would pass on the Sky Dweller. Take a full pass on the Sky Dweller. I would simply buy a Date 8. Make the logical, smart choice. Buy the Date 8. Skip on the Sky Dweller. I think the Sky Dweller's too thick, for one thing. I think it's too thick. What is the size of the Sky Dweller? Can somebody give us the dimensions on the Sky Dweller? In the chat, time check. Archie calls Tudor a discount diver. I call it food stamp diver. LOL, the universe aligned then. That's wrong. You have to go on a waiting list to get the Tudor, so you might have a chance at finding the toilet paper. Are there waiting lists for Tudors? My gosh, can you imagine waiting for one of those? That's sad. View server's in the house. Hey, Craig, I sent a pic of a Seiko people are calling coffee doll. I think they're hideous and resemble toast or old leather skin. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. and see what we got. Yeah, I mean, I was expecting something really ugly when you described it, and this is kind of ugly, and I would definitely pass. But I can see where somebody might be tricked into thinking that's cool. I can see where somebody could make that mistake. It's interesting, that bracelet looks like a Jubilee bracelet almost. That's interesting. Let's see here. How about if your daughter came home with a guy that was successful, well-dressed, and good-looking, but you found out that in his spare time he enjoyed trolling people relentlessly? Well, generally speaking, somebody that's successful and well-dressed and good-looking is probably not going to have the time to be trolling people relentlessly. So that those two things kind of cancel out. If somebody's in their basement, in their mom's basement, like trolling people all the time, they're usually not well-dressed, good-looking, and successful. So there's that. Sky Dweller is 42 mils. Yeah, see, I would pass on that. 42 mils. I wonder how thick it is. See, it's 14 millimeters thick. Wow, I'd absolutely pass on that. Definitely pass on that. My brother-in-law has a full rose gold one. It is too big and heavy, but he loves it. Yeah. He probably didn't get a chance to really try it on for any period of time before he bought it. And now that he bought it, he kind of like has to own it type of thing. And so he probably doesn't want to admit that it's clunky and uncomfortable on wrist and that he made a mistake. So there you go. He's in a box. He's put himself in a box. Williams watches. Who likes Pooh Brown dials? Salmon dials are also very odd. They look nice on ladies' watches, though. Durr's in the house. Leon, the waiting list for Tudor is like a line of lemmings waiting to jump off the cliff. There you go. Diarrhea dials. That's the Aquanaut wait list. I really like salmon dials. There are some really nice. Okay. Whoa. We might have to do another intervention for Carlos. He might be, looking at some other watches that are marginal at best. Marginal at best. Let me see what else I've got here to show. I was thinking about buying a loop. I was thinking about buying one of these. I was thinking about buying a loop, but I'd probably only use it a couple times. It'd be kind of a waste, really. So I think I'm going to pass on that whole idea. Let's see what else we got going on here. That we don't need. Just going through some tabs here that I do or do not need. See here. Wonder if this one's sold or not. Refresh this and see what happened here. This was the 18238 that somebody suggested that it looks like it has not sold. It's $12,950. So there you go. Let's see. I really like sometimes. Would you rather your daughter date a guy dressed like a hipster douche but is successful, or a blue-collar guy with good taste? Well, I wouldn't classify someone as successful if they're a hipster douche, if they dress like a hipster douche. So that would disqualify that person. And blue collar depends on what they do. Like if they own a plumbing company or something like that, they could be raking in the cash, man. Raking in the cash. So yeah, if they're, quote, blue collar and they're rocking it, absolutely. Craig, he bought it for a steal and someone offered him $15K more than he paid for it in cash, and he didn't accept it. Nearly smashed my head into the wall when I found out. Oh my gosh, can you imagine turning that down? Can you imagine? I suspect that wasn't really a legitimate offer. I suspect that nobody came and put cash on the table. It's probably some scammer. Craig, what do you think of the Grape Dial Oyster Perpetual 39? We've talked about those before. I think they're cool. I wouldn't be my first choice. I'd like more like a white dial or something, or silver dial, whatever they call it. But I think the grape dial one looks okay. Carlos says a salmon dial that I really like is impossible to get. Personally like the 114200 salmon dial Rolex Oyster Petrol 34 Air King. There you go. White gold salmon dial AP Royal Oak. Yeah, I would pass on that. Dur's in the house. Cheetown, the Aquanaut at I guess he said means at least. Yeah, at least sells for more than it's worth and is functional, although ugly. The wait list for the Tudors are a girl-sized diver and broke down GMT. Okay. Let's see. That salmon dial AP called Pink Gold looks more like gold champagne. Okay. Let's see here. Craig, besides the integral bracelet, what do you not like about the oyster quartz? Well, I mean, the shape of the case and everything. They changed the whole thing up. I like a more standard oyster case. So, yeah, I would kind of pass on that. All right, I'm getting hungry. It's 6 o'clock. Just because I started late doesn't mean that I'm not hungry. Had a very, very light lunch. Pocket full of peanuts while I walked. That's all I had was peanuts. Peanuts for lunch. Let's see what else we got here. Before we wrap this puppy up, dun, 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 dun. Oh, I don't know why we had the 60th anniversary ones in a tab here. The 60th anniversary stunners. We had them in a tab. It's always cool to look at those. So littletreasury.com, the link is in the description if you want to lock and load on one of those 60th anniversaries. He's probably got them all in stock by now. Another sweet potato. Yes, a sweet potato. Cashews are nice. I'm not a big cashew fan. I eat peanuts. I eat walnuts. And I make my own almond milk. And I eat some pistachios from time to time. But I'm not a big fan of cashews. I was never a big fan of cashews for some reason. They're okay. They're nutritious, but I prefer walnuts. I prefer almonds. And the peanuts for when I go for a nice long walk, and I just shell them, and I eat them, and I throw the shells on the ground. That's how I do. That's how I can find my way back, as I can follow the shells, the trail of shells. Oyster bracelet versus Jubilee on a date just. I like Jubilee. I would go Jubilee every time. Yes. Especially the modern ones that have the polished center links. Those show every scratch. Jubilee doesn't show scratches. So, yeah, I would definitely go with the Jubilee. And Durr says, I love cashews. Come on, Craig, cashews are awesome. Yeah, a lot of people like them. They're kind of buttery taste, sort of, to them. A lot of people like them. I just never really liked them that much. Personally, I just prefer the walnuts and the almonds for making my special almond milk. I use dates, pitted dates, vanilla flavoring, and almonds. And I blend on high in my Vitamix for about 5 minutes. And I make awesome, creamy almond milk. Really out of this world almond milk. I soak the almonds overnight. Like yesterday I ran out the almond milk. I make about 4 or 5 days worth because it'll go bad, right? There's no preservatives in it. And so I make about 4 or 5 days worth. And last night I used the last of it in my oatmeal. And so I just take a little bowl and I put the almonds in it and I fill it up with water and I let them soak for basically 24 hours. And then I make another batch of almond milk. And it's out of this freaking world. And it's really good for you. I've read that ostrich and alligator meat is very nutritious and low in fat. That's probably true. Craig, if someone offered you 500 more in cash than you paid for your 002, would you take it? 500 more. I don't think so. 1,000 more? I think I'd be very tempted. I would be very tempted at $1,000 profit, but 500 more, probably not, because it'd probably be very hard to get another one. Now, if Steve still has the other one that he has, then it would make it easier, right? I could sell this one and get the other one. So there you go. Now, if your question assumes that there was not another one available, then yeah, I'd have to get at least $1,000. At least $1,000 profit. And then I'd be back in the hunt again for another awesome freaking dress watch. So yeah, it'd have to be at least $1,000 profit, maybe even two. Ostrich meat is very good. Alligator is not special to me. I heard it tastes like chicken. You serve stick to eating Italian plumbers. It's good for you. Craig, do you like the nuts with the wasabi seasoning on it? No, I don't use any wasabi seasoning on my nuts. No. Caramelized almonds are really nice too. I guess they are. Wasabi peas are good. Okay. By the way, I use the raw almonds to make my almond milk. That's what Princess Peach does. Okay. I feel like a date chest with a smooth bezel and oyster breast that might be more under the radar than the Jubilee. Yeah, but why do you care that it's under the radar? I mean, what's the point of buying a Rolex if it's going to be under the radar? I would get the Jubilee with the white gold fluted bezel and call it a day. And just enjoy your over-the-radar Rolex. If you really want to go over the radar, then buy one in yellow gold. Any Rolex in yellow gold, preferably a date 8, would be over the radar. Would Steve be seething if you sold the gold stunner? Not if I bought the second one from him. He'd get 2 sales. So I don't think he'd be bent out of shape. Lance is in the house. Adam, a date just isn't a date just if it doesn't have a fluted bezel. There you go. By the way, the smooth bezel also shows every scratch. The fluted bezel doesn't show scratches, so there you go. Triforce Rich Reserve. Steve knows selling the other 002 is going to be a trial. He's praying Craig gets him out of it, or he's going to end up with it as a Christmas present from his wife for the rest of his life. Wouldn't be a bad thing for him to end up stuck with the 002. It's a stunner. It's a stunner. Steve deserves a stunner on wrist. He works hard. He deserves a stunner on wrist. I like corn nuts. That's about it. How about pickled okra? I don't know about that. Don't breathe on someone after eating corn nuts. Okay, well, that's interesting. All right, I think we're going to wrap this puppy up now that we've resorted to talking about corn nuts. And we will do another show, hopefully tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. See if I can pull up the app here. Oh, the Mighty Rat just showed up. Just as we're getting ready to wrap up the show, the Mighty Rat showed up on the wrap-up. The rat on the wrap. The rat on the wrapping. And we've been going for almost an hour. We started late. We started at 5:15 p.m., roughly. So we've been going for just short of an hour. And go ahead and click that subscribe and click the little bell. Click that subscribe and click the little bell so you can catch us live next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.